guys. Welcome back to the Command Your Brand Show. My name is Josh. I'm your host of the Command Your Brand Show. In this episode, we're going to be talking something really, really cool. I have a really cool, interesting guy who, is a South African, which is my first for me. Not that I've never talked to South African, but my first interview with a person from South Africa. He used to be a sales rep, and he is a field hockey player internationally. Is that right?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, good. And I want to introduce to you, Sue. No, I was going to say Sue for a second. Is Mr. Soine. I guess I'm going to say that, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. All right, cool. Awesome, man. All right, great. So I guess what we'll start here is, you're a big founder of your company, which is Impi. If I botched, I apologize. Impi Innovations, right?
MP Innovations, yeah.
MP Innovation. Okay, there you go. MP Innovation. See, we're already messing this up. Fantastic.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I guess I want to first dive in. So just like tell me, I guess, a little bit about yourself. I like to just know who you are and like what you do.
So I'm fairly new in the USA. We've only been here for about 3 years, though. The whole family literally like jumped ship from South Africa this way. Just looking at bigger opportunities, better opportunities, especially for my kids. Hardworking, running 4 jobs at the moment, plus still owning my own business. And that's where we have to start. But the USA basically gives that opportunity. And the business that I've started is extremely unique to the USA. I'm the only one in the USA that does this. And
really?
The claim to fame is it's the braces that I do are extremely successful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I guess, so tell me a little bit about the company. I'm really curious about like what the company is. And then I guess what we'll dive in, we'll dive in a little about you and how you started that. So tell us about your company.
So I started the company in Feb 2023. Registered that. I actually got a phone call from a friend of mine that I used to umpire and play against in Amsterdam, who had patented this brace, told me about it, showed me a video, and I was on board. And he said he needs someone in the USA, and I just needed to start my business, and then off we went. So in a nutshell, it's 3D printed ankle braces, fully custom, that successfully prevents a sprain of an ankle.
Wow. And
it's an external brace, so nothing goes inside the shoe, but it does attach to the shoe. Any shoe.
Wow. That's really cool. That's interesting. I saw your website and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Like how people will use that. So I guess like what for you, why did you start this company or why did you start this product? This line of service.
So I got to thank immigration for this.
Okay.
They basically got my A into G. And because the visa that they gave me was a specialist visa, but they categorized me as a field hockey expert, which basically means, and I was told this very strictly, that I have to stay in my lane. I cannot go outside of the field hockey community, otherwise we get deported. So the first thing I did was start marketing this brace for field hockey players.
Wow.
And then in the interim, obviously we applied for green cards. We got issued a work permit, which opened that up. And that's where I started with a secondary brace, which helps people with drop foot. Now it's into the medical game. Yeah.
Really interesting. So for you, how did you start this company? How did you come to be from nothing to something? I guess explain that to me. I'm just so curious how you developed this and how you got to this point of where you're at now.
So obviously from numerous injuries, ankle injuries, and just getting sick and tired of actually wearing the normal braces and having a swollen ankle, excuse me, and then putting on a brace that fits inside the shoe and then putting the shoe over it. And then that discomfort is just insane. So this friend of mine in Amsterdam, they had funding, and then they basically went to the task of testing it and prototyping it and developing it and just really going to town with all the different tests and stuff. Yeah. And then when they got together and said they found one and it works, they've tested it, They tried it on athletes, and it was successful. So
Wow.
seeing that little video of the guy running and stepping on a curb and the ankle not failing at all and the shoe actually holding in place, I was in. I was like, yeah, let's do this. It's only one way now. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the point that actually made you decide, like, I need to make a product that does this, that helps and works? Like, what was the point where, like, oh man, like I need something to help me with that? Like, what did that for you?
Whew. Tough.
And it's a tough question.
That's a very deep question. I think it was more the case of just finding the right fit and knowing that you'll be protected, because as an athlete, confidence is quite a big thing. So if you get injured and you put on a brace that doesn't really feel secure, you're not going to give 110% that's required from a coach. But as soon as you put on this brace and you can feel that, oh my gosh, my ankle is actually held together with a seatbelt. And that was the point. As soon as I put on this brace the first time, I was like, I get it. This is here's the game changer. And then it just took off from there. And another thing is I had no other ways or means to make money, because immigration said, you have to stay in your lane. And field hockey in the USA is only seasonal. So it's 3 months out of a year that they play field hockey, which I can make money. But what happens with the other months?
Right. Then you're screwed on that one.
And this is the game changing where it came from. And my first brace was a big deal.
Yeah. Was there a point, like, did an accident happen that made you decide, okay, this is a product that I want to sell? Or is it just like you just had a bright idea about it?
I had an accident happen. I played.
I figured.
I played Premier League cricket in South Africa, and I was running around the boundary to stop a ball. And for some odd reason, my brain said, "Oh no, just kick the ball towards your teammate." And I'm on a full-on sprint. And instead of kicking it, I stepped on the ball and snapped every single ligament in my left ankle. It sounded like bubble wrap down the side of the ear. And
oh my God.
Took a wipeout in front of the grandstand. I was laughing because I was in shock. And the first thing came out of my mouth was, "Someone please send me the video of that," because it looked epic.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
that was
intense.
it. Yeah. That was the worst sprain ever. Yeah.
Really? And were you not able to play after that? Is that what
I was out. Yeah, I couldn't play at all. Like, my toes were hanging at the bottom. There was nothing basically attached. Yeah, it was rough.
Wow.
But I felt no pain. Went to a physical therapist. She scared me a little bit though, because she said that we're going to have to try and keep you out of the operating theater to reattach ligaments. That was the Sunday. The Monday I saw her. The Wednesday she said we'll find out, but she's just strapped it. And luckily, when you're fit and you're moving and blood flowing, the Wednesday I went through. She did her tests and she said, "Whew, okay, you're lucky. We're not going to go. You're not going to go under the knife for this one." And literally 4 weeks later, I was back to 100% sprint.
Wow, that's interesting. And did you use that product, or you just decided to use that product when you recovered?
This came afterwards. If I had this, I would never have done that.
Just so you guys, so people who are listening to this episode, he's holding up the product in his hand. So if you're wondering, if people who are listening, he's holding the product in his hand, which looks like an ankle bracelet. Just so everyone knows.
Yeah, it's a lot of people do say, they're like, "Oh, you're under house arrest." I'm like, there's nothing electronic about this.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I always find it interesting that, is it only for hockey, or is it really for any sport, right?
Any sport. So the athletes that have basically bought these braces from me have been soccer, basketball, volleyball. I've got a cheerleader. A cheerleader wears these.
Wow.
Because she dismounted. Yeah, she dismounted and stepped on someone's foot and rolled her ankle. What else is there? I've got a lacrosse player. I've got a lady who does track and field. She's a hurdler. I use them. This is actually my brace. Yeah, and I use them to umpire. So I do all your D1 collegiate games across the country. This weekend, next week, Monday, I've got Michigan versus Michigan State, and I'll
Wow.
always wear these. Yeah.
That's great, man. So like with this product, do you travel all around with it, or just is it like battery powered, or how does it work?
So there's nothing electronic about this. So this is 3D printed. So all it is
Wow.
is it sits on the back of your shoe with a little patch that gets sewn onto the shoe, and then it sits on the back of your leg like this, and then this
So
cord. Yeah.
So it's above the ankle, right? It's above the ankle.
Right above the ankle. So it just sits above the ankle as is. The cord basically links through the little anchor point over here, and that's your seatbelt, because the breaking point of this cord is 700 pounds.
Wow.
So the shoe will fail before the cord goes. But
yeah.
And how it looks is as is, and that basically prevents the roll of the ankle.
Oh, interesting. So I guess like for this product here, like what do you think would people buy this for? Do you think it's for people who have been injured already, or is it just for people who like don't want to get injured?
Both, actually. There's there's a lady in Colorado who's never sprained an ankle, but she saw the concept, and she does ultra marathons, and she does trail running, and she's been training for a couple of ultra marathons as well. She runs with them purely for prevention purposes. This is the only brace that will prevent an ankle sprain. But we all know hindsight is 2020, and you get a lot of people that know about me and know about the product, and then a couple of months down the line, they'll send me a picture of a busted ankle and go, "Are you still in business?" Yeah.
So mostly people who come to you is right, their ankle is already broken. They want to fix it.
Yes. Or they just don't want to sprain again. So.
Yeah. Well, it's a really cool product because, I have a lot of friends that are athletes, or they're into sports, like, my dad plays, sometimes basketball, or he plays some type of sport, and I have a lot of friends who are into sports too, like football. Like here in America, we have football and baseball and, frisbee sometimes, but it's interesting that, how it can be used for, just like even daily activities, even for, you mentioned like ultra marathons, like, we actually have an employee of ours at Command Your Brand who actually does ultra marathons. I don't know if I could, but we actually do have one who does that. I'm like, I'm amazed how you do those 3K runs, those 5K runs. I'm just like, wow, that's intense.
Yeah, no, you do get some of these racing snakes. They can just go forever. Yeah, I'm built for speed, not endurance.
Yeah, and it's really interesting too that you're the first one, to my knowledge, that has made this product, right?
It's actually available outside of the USA, in Europe, New Zealand, Australia, and in South Africa. But I'm the only one in the US that does this.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. And did your whole family wear it too, or is it just you?
So far, it's just me and my wife. She wears the braces, so she just goes for a normal little road run, but she's got very weak ankles, so she wears them and she's confident. So, and that's the biggest thing for an athlete, is that confidence. As soon as you put them on, you're like, I can go now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, because I know you're the business owner, I assume, right? I think you are.
Right. Yes, I am. Yeah.
So it's really cool, someone like you, because on our channel we educate people on other people's businesses, but also how to grow your business, right? And for you, you come from another country completely and you're coming to America's soil to kind of like build your own business. And I really like the fact that you actually use your own product. Like, I see a lot of people that just, they have their own product or they sell their own product, but they don't actually use it or they don't eat it or whatever, and it's really interesting that you, of all people, just who are starting their own company, and you're using the actual product. Like, you're almost like your own client, but you're kind of not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that is a big deal, though, because for me to start off with this, I found out that's the one thing about owning a business and then having your own product, is you got to find your snag lists or the problem areas. And if you don't personally try it, you're never going to find it. You're just going to deal with other people that are going to have complaints, and you can't really govern what they're going to do with it. Because if they go to Google or they badmouth you, you're basically done. It's because we all know a bad word moves faster than a wildfire.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like as a business owner who's not only coming from another country, but also like how do you work with everything that goes on? Like, you have the manufacturing, the shipping, and all that other stuff. And I assume you probably don't do all that stuff, but like as a business owner, like how do you manage all that? Like, 'cause I know, people who listen to, this channel specifically have businesses that like drop shipping or they have products that they sell online. Like how do you do that?
So the nice thing with technology these days, everything is fairly remote. The only issue that I have at the moment is getting face to face to actually do the 3D scan. But once I've got the 3D scan, I've managed now to work out a plan with a lab. The lab is based in Miami, so everything is USA made.
Wow.
Where I've had clients in Miami who's contacted me asking to get them scanned, and the lab has been great and letting them go to the lab and get scanned, and then they just send me the files, and then off we go from there. So
yeah,
there's many ways to skin a cat, but you'll find, you just got to find a way. There's always a way to do something. You just got to find it, though.
Totally. And I guess for you probably test this out before obviously you sold it, obviously. And what do you find the trick is when you're testing something, especially a product like this that's kind of sort of new, but like in a new genre of things? How do you think that would work?
Oh, you have to criticize yourself even worse, even worse than what someone else would criticize you. So find every little small detail. The smallest detail that I normally find is the discomfort of wearing the brace, but there's no ways around it. But I've worked out a maximum time frame to break in the brace, and a minimum time frame, just depending on how frequently you want to wear it or how quickly you want to break in the brace. So yeah, you have to be quite critical on your criticizing of yourself and your product.
Yeah. One thing I was actually taught, from my father, but also from other business owners was, take the view of the client, and how would you respond if you got the product? You know what I mean? Like if I were a athlete who just basically broke his ankle, or basically like is about to snap in half, or even just sprained it, how would you feel if I wore this? So that kind of is interesting, just how important it is to criticize it, but also take the view of the client that's going to buy it, or the person that's going to really just wear this, a professional, so I think it's really interesting that you put it to like a professional view of like, I want to wear this because this is important to me. And that's why people buy products, right? To solve a problem.
Exactly. And if you've got a solution for that problem, it's a done deal. And I'm a firm believer of always just selling a solution and not necessarily selling a product.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. I really like, and I think the fact that you have a product that's going to change probably the industry electronically to help athletes is really, really important. I met a guy the other day who he's making a stick that actually helps with injuries on athletes, or when they break something or they sprain themselves in some way. There's another guy he's in the NFL. He's a coach. He also coaches hockey too, by the way. But he's a very interesting guy. I actually really like him, and his product is quite awesome too. So it's kind of similar, but his is not like an ankle or like where it's placed. It's not really that area. It's more like the whole leg itself.
Yeah,
it's very fascinating. But I really like the fact that it's just something that's going to help people or help athletes be athletes.
Yep. So, and that's and a lot of the times when I've spoken to a couple of people, I actually bumped into a basketball guy who was going through rehab now. He sprained his ankle, and I asked him, like, what is your biggest issue with you getting back onto the field? Me being an athlete, I know what the issue is, but it's nice hearing it though. And the first thing that they say is they can't give 100%. That they always wary, because that injury is always in the back of their mind going, "Ooh, okay, I stepped on my toes and rotated, and that's where the inversion came in. And I can't do that now. I've got to be more flat-footed to be more stabilized." So, and just like you, asking the right questions will then determine the solution to the problem.
Yeah, that's just so fascinating. And to me, that's why I like when people sell things, a product that really matters, like my best and favorite thing to do in life is to sell or to give someone a service that's going to help people be better in what they love to do. You know what I mean? Like I really love, like, for example, I sell podcasting placements. We also do courses that teach people how to be a podcaster and just services that actually just help people. And a lot of it's just free, and we give them out because it helps people in what they want to do. That's why I'm very passionate about helping people achieve their dreams,
Yeah. Well, you talk about that. There's a lady in Colorado. So the secondary brace that I've got is the one that caters for drop foot or foot drop. And that lady had this massive brace that she's been wearing for like 15 years or something like that. She then got hold of me and I flew out, took a scan of her ankle, got the brace back. She put the brace on and she's sitting there and she's like, oh, okay, yeah. So I'm like, no, you got to get up now and feel it. And the first two steps, she burst into tears because she could feel the brace actually working. And the fact that she could wear her normal size shoe for the first time in 15 years.
Wow. That's amazing. Do you have other success stories like that was there any one particular, I know you mentioned just one, but like, was there one that just really impacted you the most that you felt like, wow, I'm actually doing something right for once,
Well, funny enough, this is the drop foot brace is the biggest one that's moved me the most. This is the normal preventative ankle sprain brace and I use it. So I'm used to this already and I'm used to knowing what it actually does. But the drop foot one, I don't wear one because I don't suffer from drop foot. So seeing it on someone else and then seeing their face light up when they can actually step a curb without their toes catching onto the side of the curb and them smiling because they can feel the ankle is actually supported. And this other lady in Colorado as well, it was the first time in 5 years that she could actually walk around the block with her dog. And it's those small things. There's another lady, she's literally just down the road from me over here. She had a stroke 5 years ago, developed foot drop or drop foot on the left and on the left foot. Tried to climb a curb and her toes caught and broke her ankle. And put the brace on her the first time and she was walking with a cane. Put the brace on her and I held her hand. I said, come, let's go. And she walked straight from there onto the treadmill, started walking. And the physical therapist, Dr. Ben Kurtz, he was sitting in the corner and he's like, hey, Lou. So I turned and looked at him and he's waving her cane at me. Mm-hmm. So it's literally, she had that much stability that she could walk without the cane.
Wow. That's amazing. Is she also an athlete too, or just like?
Nope. Normal Jane.
Normal guy. Normal person.
Normal person. Just a normal person. I mean, that's I think the drop foot brace will be the game changer in the USA because you'll have a lot of people that with stress and everything else, the strokes do come quite frequent. And also the population in this country is so massive though that you'll have more of a percentage of people that will suffer from drop foot. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think when it grows and this obviously goes live and people like request it, who do you think besides athletes, who do you think that your ideal person is that would want to buy this? Like, do you think it'll actually go in the medical field maybe, or do you think it'll actually help with assisting people who actually broke it from whatever accidents? Or
I'm hoping this is classified as a medical device. So I'm hoping it goes into the medical route. I'm still saving up to actually get these braces coded for medical insurance. Once that's done, then the specialist can basically prescribe them. But that's quite a bit of money up front just to get that coding done. Yeah. But anyone, if you know someone that goes for a walk outside that's a bit sketchy about their ankles, someone who's been injured before or who knows what a sprained ankle feels like and just doesn't want to have that pain again, anyone that wears a shoe, this is it.
It's interesting as now you bring that up, it's cool that I can also see it with older people too, like older people like in their 60s, 70s, anyone like that. So it's kind of interesting that people can actually use that not just for athletes, but also like, to prevent like a really harsh fall down, because I know, like there's all these other devices out there that like really track what you're doing. Like, I don't know if you have an Apple device, but like, Apple Watches now like sense when you fall down.
Yeah.
If like you don't respond in a certain time, they call the ambulance, whatever they do. But it's interesting. That could be also a really interesting device for older people too, where they actually can help them just live life, and that if there's a problem, they can actually like, because when an older person falls, it's not as bad as when an athlete falls, because like when you fall in hockey, it's like, oh, I sprained my I hurt my elbow, where for them it's like they break every bone in their body, they're so fragile.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I've got there's a 92-year-old lady now who's got a drop foot brace, and I asked her, I said, what's your motivation, why do you want to get this brace? And all she wants to do is just go dancing.
Really?
That's it. 92. She just wants to go dancing.
Yeah. 92 years old, go dancing, There's actually, it's funny. There's actually a film they just remade recently where it's actually a couple. I don't remember the movie, but this guy is like not coming home to like actually pay money to go dancing. And he's like, not telling secretly to his wife that he's going somewhere. And his wife thinks he's cheating on him because he wants to go dancing. And it kind of reminded me that like, oh man, that guy should definitely get that bracelet, So,
yeah.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And then do you think at some point you'll have other products like that? Or is it just, do you think this is the one for now?
I've only got the 3 products. My system allows me to basically scan the entire human body. So it'll take a little bit of innovation and a little bit of engineering just to figure something out. The third product that I do is an actual face mask. I don't know if you've ever seen the basketball guys normally play with them.
Like kind of goggles, or
no, it's a face mask that covers the whole from the nose up. So a lot of the times I've seen it in basketball before, where they would have had a broken nose and then they just put this mask on just to cover up the nose. So mine protects in field hockey. A lot of the times the freak accidents that take place though is a stick, a rogue stick will come flying through and you'll get cracked either on the nose or on the cheekbone. So I call this face mask the orbital guard because it actually protects the orbital socket and the nose area, but it's also 3D printed. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
And you 3D printed it yourself, or someone did it for you?
Oh no, the lab does it. It's a monstrosity of a machine that they have there.
Wow.
But as the business grows, that is my end goal, is to basically have my own lab where I can print these products. I know what machine needs to get done because in South Africa I worked with copiers and printers and telecommunications. So I know what machine it does. I would need in order to print these products. And technology these days is so easy. It's literally a scan, a file conversion, you submit it to the machine, and boom, it gets printed within a couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah. And, because I know you're in the athletic industry and like you're kind of like, you're very involved in that. Do you think this will change a lot of the futuristic, like in the future, do you think it'll change a lot of the products that come out for athletes like this?
I do think so, because you think about an NFL player, they get paid millions and millions and millions. And the last thing you want to do is get that NFL player to be injured and then sitting bench side and get paid to do nothing. So as a, I don't know, what would you call it? As a team owner, you don't want to spend money on on driftwood. You want to prevent an injury so that they can actually play.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool. And it's like, I think it's a helpful tool, it'll not only save money, but I'm sure it'll probably like just save you from a lot of injuries in the future, So I think that's a really amazing product that you guys have, or you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, of course. So I guess before we wrap up here, I kind of just want to, for our audience that's listening, how is the best way to reach out to you, or where can we look you up? Like if someone wants to find out your product and get in touch with you or your team, how can people do that for you?
So I've got a website. It's called MP Innovations, IMPI Innovations.com. And then I'm on Instagram as well. Also, you can just search MP Innovations and it'll pop up. It's a little running man over there with all the different colors and stuff. But yeah, they can either send me a text on Instagram. My mobile number is on the website as well. So anyone can get a hold of me. You can either text, phone, you can email me anyway. Yeah.
Anywhere. Will they get in touch with you? Or is it your team?
On the website, it'll go through to myself and my team. I get alerts from that though, but most of the time I'm hands-on.
That's great, man. All right, cool. I thank you for the conversation. I think it was really interesting just to hear about this product, and maybe you'll hook me up with one. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's really cool, just the idea, and I think it'll probably for me, I think it will change the industry of like how we help athletes be better and just keep playing, because I noticed that a lot of people. I'm 29 years old and I see all these guys who are now older. They're getting older and older, and they're like, I'm like so injured. I don't even want to play anymore because I'm so messed up. You know what I mean? So it would be nice to have them a little longer. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I know in American culture we're all I'm not really, but I sometimes I am, where a lot of us are all into sports and like hockey and football and all that stuff. So we're a bit into sports. Yeah. So. Yeah, I do thank you for the time that we spent together and just learning about yourself and learning about your company. And I really thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Josh. It was great connecting.